My name is Scott, and I've always loved being around the water. A dream of mine was to one day own a lakefront property of my own. For years, my wife and I have driven around the state looking at property. Sometimes we were serious, and sometimes we just needed something to do, but we were always dreaming. Now the dream has become a reality. Come join us as we attempt to build our very own off-grid cabin on Lake Lot 9. All right, so the first trip out here, or second trip technically, but the first trip of actually trying to dig holes, Jackie and I came out and I got this first hole about 31, 32 inches on the low side. Of course, it's gonna be more than that on the high side, about 34. Looking for about 3 feet, so successful on this one. But you can see what we're dealing with. See that rock? All these rocks. Just absolutely beat you to death. And then started hole number 2. You can see what come out of it. Got it down to 23, 22, 23 on the low side. And well, I'll just show you. So needless to say, the honeymoon with the spud bar is over. I still won't have to use it from time to time, but hear that? Now you could make a good argument that I could just stop there and use that as part of the foundation, but I've got in my head that I want 2.5 feet in the ground at least. Got these holes that they're about 18-inch diameter for the most part. Started the third hole over here. Same scenario. Fourth hole was marked but not started. Brought the generator and got on Amazon and paid 126 bucks for a jackhammer. And we're going to see if we can't put the odds in our favor a little better on digging these holes out. All right, so I finished that hole that was partially done, and then came over here and got this one dug. And you can see here what I'm working with. And I can tell you without a doubt that there's no way I could have done it without that jackhammer. One thing I did do is I ended up going with the flat bit for a while, and the reason being is in this application, you know, if you're trying to bust up a slab of concrete on the surface, then I think the chiseled bit, the sharp bit, would probably work better. But where you have to stick it down in this hole and chisel on a rock that's kind of compacted down in the earth, what happens with the sharp bit is it just bores a hole and then gets the whole tool stuck. And I don't know how much pressure you should use prying, you know, back and forth on that housing. So I went with a flat bit, and the trick is to try to find the edge of the rock and chunk off a piece of it at a time. And you know, you run into a problem where if the rock is as big as the entire bottom of the hole, then you just got to bust it up best you can. I mean, the jackhammer's been a lifesaver for sure, but it's not a material removing tool, so you still got to use post hole diggers and a spud bar, you know, to help get it out. But there's 3 of my 4 corner holes done. That one took, because that's what I was going to say, that one took just under an hour, which is a long time to spend digging on a hole, but a lot less time than it took for either of the first 2 holes. So now I'm going to do this other corner, and this is the part where I would tell you to not do things like I do, because when we put this batter board down to find our corners, this one ended up being right at the corner. We didn't set it back far enough away from our corner. And you can see here, I still got my nails from my string, and I got them all labeled with an S and an L. Long side of the cabin, short side of the cabin. So I believe what I can do, since I've got my nails in here, is I can remove this horizontal board, set it aside, and as long as I replace it back in the same screw holes when I get done digging the hole, then everything should be at least very close to where it should be. I could probably dig this hole without moving that. I may try that, but I feel like I could safely take this board off and put it back where it's supposed to go. Guys, so I got my 4 corner holes dug, 30 inches deep, and again that's 30 inches on the bottom of the slope, so it's actually more than 30 on the top, but I wanted to make sure that the shallowest part was at least 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the main goal that I want to accomplish today. I may try to get them formed up on the top for concrete. I got 2 of them framed up. I'll cut these off even with the frame with a chainsaw when I come back and cut some plywood to fill these sides in so my concrete don't leak out. Got that one and this one, and as you can tell, they're not exactly lined up angle wise. One box might be this way and the other box might be that way, but the only thing I'm concerned about is that the post lands on the concrete, preferably as close to the middle as I can get it. It was a long, hard, but productive day. Until next time, guys, find something you love to do and do it till it hurts. See y'all next week.